Okay, let's talk about love. As you said, you wanted to talk about love because it's pivotal in the question of spirituality.
Indeed, love is a powerful thing, and a lot of people aren't aware of what true love really is. You know, we catch these feelings and we think that we're in love with somebody.
Right, being in love. If I can quote Scott Peck, is not love. The being in love is not love, although it seems like love or feels like love, at least for a while.
When it comes to love, I want you to know that I'm not a Christian, but I really look towards the doctrine of Christianity as a great tool to learn about what true love really is, because it's spilled out in the face of Jesus. This guy and this story that surrounds him gives us the whole layout of what love is. Love was also told to the Egyptians in the allegories of Isis, but unconditional love was never told until the gospel of Jesus Christ. And unconditional love is a love that's not based on emotions. When we're born into this world, when we think about love, we might say, man, I love you, man, because you're my brother, you know? Or I love you because you're my wife. Or I love you because you're my mother. Or I love you because you make me laugh. Or I love you because you give me things. All of these things are conditions. As a matter of fact, the Greek language had, I like the Greek language because the Greek language explains, you know, each form of love. But when we come to the English language, we got one word to describe all these different types of love. Like, you might love chili dogs, you might love your red Corvette, and you might love your wife, but you don't love your wife like you love chili dogs. You don't love chili dogs like you love your red Corvette. But we only have one word to really describe all of these loves. But in the Greek language, it wasn't like that. And the New Testament of the Bible was written in the Greek language. So if to Christians that are listening, if you really want to understand the Bible, you really need to learn the Hebrew and the Greek, especially the Greek, because the New Testament is for the Christians. And it'll really break down what's being said in those scriptures. Like when it comes to a brotherly love, the Greeks called that philos. That's where we get the English word Philadelphia from, the city of brotherly love. Then you got the love that you might have for your mother, which was stargate. It's a family type love. Then you got eros, where we get the word erotic from. That's a passionate type love that you will have for your wife or for your girlfriend. And all of these loves are based on conditions, though. But when Christianity and the gospel came forth, it shows a different type of love. It shows a love that God has for humanity, and this love isn't based on conditions. And the Apostle Paul explains it in the New Testament in Romans chapter 5, where he says, perhaps some people would die for their friends, but God demonstrated his love that yet while we were in sin, in other words, while we were his enemies, he gave us his son. He gave us the extreme love. He gave us a love that was, how would you say, you can't go beyond, because who can go beyond giving their child up for their enemy? So this type of love isn't based on conditions, and no man can know the joys of being married unless he's been married, correct? And no man can know the misery of being in prison unless he's been in prison, correct? Well, no man can know God's unconditional love unless he experienced it. And the Christians have experienced it at the cross. And once you experience it, then you can walk in it. And that's the point of the gospel. to walk in unconditional love, not love based on conditions. Once we realize that we all are one, I'm a part of you, you're a part of me, then we can start walking in this unconditional love. It's not all about I'm going to love him, but I'm going to hate you because you did this to me. It's all about trying to walk in love. And when it comes to love, what love is, it's a action word. It's not something that you feel. It's not something that you say. It's something that you do. Like, I'm thirsty right now. You go and get me something to drink. That's an expression of love. That's what love is about. You know, so in Christianity, that picture is really drawn out in the face of Christ, who spent his whole life, well, his last 3 years of his life, basically denying himself and looking out for others all the way to the cross to die for his enemies. And in that story, we supposed to follow that example. That's why it was given.
How do we find the strength in everyday life to practice this kind of love? You know, we're surrounded by conflict and conflicts of interest. And
well, the thing is, it's a choice that you got to make. Once you experience it, I'll give you an example real quick. There was a guy who his house got broken into. Once his house got broken into, he found out who did it. So instead of doing something to the man, he took the man to court. And the judge let the man walk free. But this guy knew that this was the man that broke into my house. So this guy was so upset. So one winter, he's riding down the street and a blizzard is going on. And he sees the guy walking down the street struggling in this storm. So he looks at this guy. He says, man, I'm not picking up that guy. That guy broke in my house. And I'm not, yeah, you suffer, you dog. So anyway, the next year, there was another storm. And during this storm, he's driving down the street again, and he sees the same man struggling walking down the street, but only this term, within that year span, he got saved. And he looks at this guy walking down the street, he said, man, I'm not picking that guy. That's the same guy that broke into my house, man. I'm not. And then he started thinking, wow, well, when I was doing wrong against God, God gave his son to die for me. When I was God's enemy, God showed me love. Now the man is able, he has the power to genuinely say, I'm going to help that man. Even though he broke in my house, I'm going to help him anyway. That's what happened at the cross. When people truly accept what Christ has done for them, what God has done for them through Christ. Not saying he's going to pick up the man, but he has the power to genuinely do it. Whereas without this example, without experiencing this unconditional love, you only could deal with the situation concerning your emotions. And your emotions will not let you pick this